Good.
Hey, everybody. We are live. And look who it is. It's Mike Shaw.
It's about
Mike
time.
Shaw.
Hey,
It
how
is
are you,
about
Christy?
time.
I know. I'm so sorry.
I'm
going to
doing
apologize a
well.
lot during the stream.
He's sorry, everyone. And he admits it right now.
Yep.
No,
I'm
but
sorry.
seriously, I missed you because we used to hang out all the time in the YouTube space.
I know.
And then you vanished. Yep. And then I saw you in some live stream chats, and I was like, "Hey, we got a YouTube."
Yeah. Well, so let's jump right into that whole story. You know, as you know, I was actually doing a little bit of carnivore content and definitely enjoying the lives just because I like to goof off, and anybody who's seen me in the chat knows that. But and then what happened was I'll give the reasons why here in a little bit, but I fell off the wagon. I just did. And I started eating, maybe not all the way sad, but I started eating sadly. and so I would come in because I've made friends in this community, and I feel like we're friends. And then, and that's another reason why I'm going to apologize again, because it was weird being in chat and not being on carnivore. And it was just like, do I be honest with that in the chat? And it also feels like, maybe I'll hijack the chat by what's going on with me instead of what's going on the screen. And so I just first I was just kind of quiet, and then I would lurk. And then I just sort of over time disappeared because I felt kind of like a hypocrite, I guess. But it always bugged me. And I even had a friend of mine at church. She's like, well, those are your friends. What are you doing? What are you doing? So I started coming back and so now I'm lurking and chatting it up with people. And one of the reasons why is because I'm back on carnivore with some fruit sometimes and occasional cheating.
Okay.
So there's still that.
Well, you know what, Mike? Here's the deal.
Yep.
Those of us in this space that know you and have live streamed with you and chatted with you, like, we're your friends, and it's not because of what you're eating. I'm just going to say that right here.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So Susan is saying, yes, we are here for you.
Hi, Susan.
Yeah. I mean, I know that you would probably, yes, there would be those out there that you would get some hate from, if you're not eating only meat and all of that. But those of us that are your friends, we're your friends. And like I said, not because of what you're eating.
Right.
But I would be interested to dig into it a little bit because I feel like this is important for people. No, not everyone is perfect, all the time. I don't think anyone is. And so what were the triggers that kind of set you, as you said, off the wagon?
Yeah. I mean, that is the question. And really, there were two of them. They always say, have a strong why, have a good why. My why was to lose weight. Honestly, that was my main reason. And I just I wasn't really losing much weight. I lost, I think, 15 pounds at the beginning and then just kind of hung out there and even added a few back. I think I ended up losing 8 total. And so I was really annoyed by that. And probably that by itself wouldn't have been enough, because if you go back on my channel and look back far enough, back end of October, so 11 months ago, 10 months ago, somewhere in there, when I had my labs done, my labs were pretty good. I mean, like really good. I remember for the most part. And so that should have been my why. But the other part that went with it was I was, and this is kind of still the case, so no, not as bad anymore, but I was really underemployed. And I love my ribeyes. And I do not like ground beef very much. And I just got discouraged. And so between the discouragement with not losing weight and the discouragement of having to give up ribeyes for ground beef, I said, the heck with it. I'm going to have some ice cream. And that turned out not to work out well either.
Yeah, I was going to say, how's that working for you?
Right. Well, it
I
worked.
Can imagine.
Yeah. Well, I put on 20 pounds, you know, so after I lost 15, gained about 8 back, you know, so a total weight loss of about 8 pounds. Strict carnivore. I mean, very strict with like, I think I had 2 cheat meals in 6 months. So carnivore for 6 months, dedicated. And that's why the labs were so good. My A1C was 4.7 or something.
Ooh,
just insanely good, rocking that A1C. And I felt great too. Yeah, it's just, you know, don't get discouraged, I guess would be my main thing for you. And then, you know, go back to ice cream and, you know, on those, you know, donuts at church, and maybe go after church with your friends to the Mexican place and have the giant burrito or enchilada, and you're going to gain 20 pounds. And that's what I did. So I've come back to Ketovore, but again, I've got sometimes with fruit, and, you know, I've gotten away from the church donuts at least the last 2 Sundays. So.
Well, that's good news. So when you say, okay, so let's talk a little bit, let's dig a little more into this. So when you say you're ketovore, that's mostly meat. So what kind, are you able to afford those ribeyes again? Or are you just sucking it up and having the ground beef? Or are you eating a variety? Like, I like chuck roast, for example, and that's still relatively inexpensive. Chuck roast, and it's easy.
Yeah. So I did have a chuck roast last week, I think. And I wasn't quite sure how to cook it, but I do have, it's not an Instapot. It's an older brand, same thing, pressure cooker with a pressure cooker with buttons. And so I did cook some chuck, and it fell right off the bone when it was done, and it was good. And I still have some broth in my fridge. So I did do that one time. Here's what I do pretty much every day. Around 10 o'clock or so, I'll take about 3/4 of a cup of mushrooms. I don't know, whatever it is. They come in this little box thing, you know, the see-through plastic box that you slice mushrooms in. I'll do about half of that. I'll take about 1/3 of an onion, chop that up, and throw that in there and let it start to saute a little bit. And then I'll take a 1/2 pound of pork sausage. I'll take 1 pound of 80/20 and just crumble it all over. When I have them, which has been lately, it's been good, I'll take 3 farm fresh eggs and bust them in there. And then I'll cook it for 3 or 4 minutes on one side, and then I'll flip it all over, and, you know, and I'll add some salt and pepper. And actually I've been doing a little, what's it called? That. So, it's making my mustache turn yellow. What's that stuff called? Turmeric. So I've been putting some, so I like turmeric. So I put that on there, and some pepper and some salt. Anyway, and I'll eat about half of that. A little bit of cayenne pepper too, just some spice. I'll eat about half of that at around 11 o'clock. And then the other half I'll eat around, about a half hour ago. And call it a day. If I do decide to get bananas, because they're kind of the only affordable fruit right now. If I do get bananas, I'll either have a banana after lunch or after dinner, or both.
So I have a question for you about those bananas. So I don't know if you know this, Mike, because like we just already talked about, you sort of fell off the map and we missed you. I missed being able to put you in detention and all that kind of fun stuff like we used to do in the chat.
And because I deserve it.
Yeah, right. I mean, and for those of you watching that don't know, I'm a teacher, and Mike likes to cut up in the chats. And so I'd be like, you're going in detention, right? We just joking around. Anyway, I missed that. But in the meantime, while you were on hiatus, my husband has gone low carb and maybe even keto, I'd say. Maybe even keto, I would say. But for sure, low carb. And can I tell you, this man would eat for sure 1 banana, but there were definitely 2 banana days. Like he was having 2 banana days a lot of the time for his whole life. Right. And he thought that was just he thought that he wasn't going to give that up. Like when he was planning, because he's a planner. So when he was thinking about, I'm going to do this, and he was like, okay, I'm going to start with just lowering it to 100 carbs a day. We calculated he was eating 400 to 500 carbs a day.
Yeah.
That's what he was eating. So 100 carbs is low carb for him. Okay. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
he was
good.
like, so he was figuring out how to fit his banana right into that 100 carbs. And he was like dead set on, I'm going to keep my banana. Right.
Yep.
Okay. So he's getting started. And one day he ate some bacon and eggs for breakfast. He was feeling great.
Yeah.
And then he went like an hour later or something and grabbed his banana and had this crazy blood sugar reaction. Like he was all like shaky and weird and dizzy.
Whoa.
And that day he threw the bananas in the trash and he hasn't purchased another banana.
Amazing. That's
right?
Great. That's great. That's amazing. First of all, I'm really happy for him.
Me too.
And it helps you too, I think, probably. But I mean, and the progress you've made with your son is amazing. And, all of those stories are just great. And so to have now 3/4 of your family on board is just
It is
fantastic.
3/4 of my family. I have my other son who is like, and I don't think he cares. He's like, nope. I keep trying to convince him, he's like, no.
Yeah. He's 18, right?
He's 18. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, I mean, that's his experience with the banana, but you don't notice any, because I know you said when you were carnivore, your A1C was rock solid at a 4.7,
Right.
but when you're eating those bananas, I mean, I'm sure it's not that now, but you don't notice any blood sugar spikes or dips or anything like that?
I don't. No, I don't. It tastes good and I like it. And, it's seems to, I mean, not that I have poop talk. You ready for some poop talk? It's not a carnivore show without poop talk. So it kind of helps my poop a little bit. Not that, when I'm carnivore, I don't poop a lot, which is typical for carnivore. But I think with the banana, it's actually even nicer, I guess. But that's kind of the only difference I notice. I sleep better. Part of this is now. Do you ever watch the book club with Nurse Kim and carnivore midlife
carnivore
and midlife carnivore? Thank you. And Lynn, and of course our friend Carrie, my metamorphosis. And so
I don't watch it very often, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
So they've been going through Dr. Casey Means' book, Good Energy. And I bought the book. And I actually read a book. It's amazing. It's been so long. I know I haven't.
I know you usually listen. Don't you usually listen to books if you're going to do a book?
No, I don't. I usually
you just don't listen or read. Okay, got it.
No, I just go to YouTube and watch YouTube videos.
Okay.
And Sharon's in the chat. She's making fun of my bananas. But so I'm going to kind of explain. So I'm reading this book by Dr. Casey Means, co-written by Kathy Means, and she's not carnivore. She's not against carnivore. And come to find out, watching a lot of her videos, she actually sort of came out of the vegan. She's kind of more towards the vegan side. But her book highlights, and I think it does a very good job of highlighting, you want to have metabolic health. The way to do that is to get rid of these processed food, the seed oils, and the added sugar. She doesn't believe plants are bad for you. I believe plants can be bad for you depending on who you are. I've never had problems with plants. She believes fruit is fine. Of course, we all know about Dr. Saladino and stuff. And, I don't have a problem with fruit either. Now, the way it's been explained to me, and not just her YouTube videos, and in the book, but in other people talk about this too. And I think there's probably some varying degrees of, difference of opinion on this. But first of all, fruit is fructose. So fructose is handled by the liver, much like alcohol, which on the surface doesn't sound good. But when you eat a whole fruit, not the juice, but the whole fruit, you're eating it with the fiber. And we can have a fiber discussion. Some things that I've learned from the book that I don't know. I mean, again, we're all individuals. We're all N = 1. you eat a banana, for example, with the fiber coats your intestines and keeps you from absorbing. It blunts the absorption of the fructose. And so it keeps it down to a dull roar for your liver. And then the fiber feeds your gut biome in a positive way, is the theory. And so I've decided to not be afraid of fruit. Now, of course, you're not going to be in ketosis on fruit. So that's the downside. So that's where I'm coming from on fruit. And it's, I'll blame Carrie for that one, for introducing me to Dr. Casey's book.
No, so before I have a few things to say, but if you guys have not seen Casey and Callie Means on Tucker Carlson, like go watch that. Like right after this, go watch that, because that was fantastic. But yeah, so I'm curious about, so you said after you fell off the wagon and ate ice cream and all the things, and then you gained 20 pounds. And I know how beneficial keto and being in ketosis was for me for losing weight. So I'm just curious about, would you go back into ketosis, or do you not have weight loss as a goal currently? Or
yeah. So I kind of gave that up. I mean, I would like that. I would like that, but it's like I kind of had to give it up. It's like, well, maybe I'm too old, or if you want to put Susan just comment up, that might be kind of perfect, because with her weight loss stalls and slows, and it's common for her, and other people on keto have talked about that, and she's been on it for almost 6 years. 5 years keto, 15 months carnivore. But she has lost a ton of weight, and I know we all feel better on carnivore. I certainly did. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been Ketovore. I did get bananas today at the store, but other than that, I'm sure I was in ketosis the last 2 weeks, which is great. And so, yeah, I'm not as concerned with the weight loss. And, I'm thinking, my annual checkup, if I have it, is coming up in a month or so, 6 weeks. So if that happens, then I'll see what my labs are again after falling off the wagon and sort of getting almost back on the track, and see what the effect is.
Yeah, I need to make my lab video. I've been very busy. The start of the school year is very busy. I did get labs again because I got my new low-carb friendly doctor. And so I have a second set of labs to compare to my first set. So a lot has changed, because I gained weight too. I gained about 20 pounds after from going keto to carnivore. It happened while I knew you, dude.
Yeah, you were putting on a bunch of muscle.
Yeah, it's not all muscle according to my DEXA scan. Although I don't have I only have one DEXA scan, but I got plenty of fat. I've gone back to sprinting, but I was sprinting even while I was putting on the weight. I attribute it to when I was on keto. When I went keto, that's how I lost the 20 pounds. Then I went carnivore, and it was all, all the stuff about, well, you don't need to track on carnivore and all of that.
Right.
And I'm totally fine with that. I'm not tracking right now. I'm not tracking. But I was just eating to my hunger, and I've never done that in my whole life. And I can guarantee you that my metabolism is very damaged. I'm hoping that I'm starting to fix that. So I steadily put on weight until I gained 20 pounds, and now it's been steady. I haven't gained more than that. So it's been that for I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 months or something. I'm just sitting there around 140, whereas I had been around 120.
Right.
But I get to eat what I want, carnivore food. I haven't fallen off the wagon myself, but carnivore food. But when I'm hungry, I eat. And if I want 1.5 pounds of ribeye, then I eat 1.5 pounds of ribeye, and I'm not counting calories. And I know my whole life I counted calories. Even when I was keto, I was tracking mostly for the carbs, right, to make sure I was under my 20. But for sure, the calories pop up when you do that. And so I've been conscious of that my whole life. And so I was conscious of that. Right. And I was probably eating 12 to 1,500 calories a day. And now I don't really know what it is, but probably more like 2,000, which I think, who knows? Who knows what I need and don't need? Because when I was standard American diet and restricted eating and all of that, I would try to restrict under 1,000. I would try to restrict down to 700 or 800, like almost all the time. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's so bad for you.
I know. Tell me about it. So it's kind of freeing in a way. Like when the weight gain stopped, I was like, okay, then if I'm going to stick here, like, all right. I mean, I'm happier at 120, but I mean, it stopped at 140. I'm not gaining anymore. And I am able to eat intuitively and kind of hang out at this weight. Right. And so for now, like I'm good with that. But my labs changed, I think, because of the 20-pound weight gain. Because when I had my first set of labs, I was 120.
What happened with your labs?
Okay, spoiler, all you people, all 11 of you watching right now. Hi, Ellie.
We have 11 people?
So yes, we have 13 now. Hi. So one of the
don't tell me everything, but just an idea.
Yeah. I'm still a lean mass hyper responder. I am.
Okay.
But when I was lighter, when I was leaner, my LDL was like, it said like too high to measure. Like it was just said like greater than whatever, like greater than 400 or whatever. It didn't say a number, greater than 400 or 350 or whatever it was. It was like off the, whatever the thing is, Yeah. Now my LDL is down like in the high 200s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it cut in half, but it's because I put on 20 pounds. Like I'm not as lean, right? So I'm still lean. Like my BMI is still like, I'm not overweight. I'm not in the overweight category, but I'm closer to it. I'm like right up next to it, And
BMI is trash.
It is trash, but that's part of the reasoning behind the lean mass hyper responder, I guess. And so that's why I'm bringing it up, But, and the weight that I put on was there's a lot of fat there. Like when I got my DEXA scan, I was like, woo, I'm like over a third fat. Isn't that fun?
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness.
But you know what, Mike Shaw, my bone density is fan-freaking-tastic.
That's right.
So, hey.
So, and we talk a lot about in this community, and it's like, I didn't even take my own advice, when I got discouraged and stopped eating carnivore. But it's like the weight doesn't matter really, because when you eat, when you're hungry and you're eating meat, your body's going to naturally settle into where it should be, right? Isn't that the theory?
Mm-hmm.
That's the theory. Where'd it go? So Ellie says, I think the 20 pounds is good for you. So
I didn't even see that. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you, Ellie.
Right. And then my cousin came in the comment before that. Hey, cuz. And
hi,
so
Tracy.
it's
nice to see.
And so, maybe you've settled into the proper weight for Christy. And maybe that's good. Maybe that's okay. Now I know I have way too much fat around the middle, but probably, it's probably less of a risk factor if you get rid of the fat that's underneath. You know what I mean? So you got to get rid of that fat that's around your organs. And whenever you're on a good metabolic diet, not necessarily carnivore, not necessarily keto, and not necessarily vegan, but whatever it is that's getting rid of a lot of the carbs, certainly all of the processed carbs, or as many as possible, then you're gonna lose that fat first. And the subcutaneous fat is not necessarily bad for you. It's just harder to move around, and I keep bumping into stuff that I forget my gut's out that far.
Aw.
I know, it's sad.
That is a little sad, but this will cheer you up. Mike Shaw and Christy collab brings me back. This feels like classic carnivore YouTube again. Yes, it does, Ellie. When I saw Mike in the chat a couple times, I definitely messaged him as like, hey, I miss you. Let's YouTube.
Yeah. And it's like, and I felt like I wanted to tell my story a little bit too. And if you go to my channel, this version of it is titled, We're Getting the Band Back Together. So.
So PhD Predator, you bring up a good point. Doesn't good bone mass add to the weight or no? You are correct. It does. That would be good lean tissue, like muscle tissue and bone tissue. That's like good lean tissue that you want. The only thing is that I only have one DEXA scan. So, and that was taken in May. So it was after I had put on the 20 pounds, but I don't have a previous DEXA scan. I only have the one that can tell me like my fat percentage, what my bone density is, and all of that. I was a hardcore diet soda drinker for over 30 years. So I recently quit like 6 weeks ago. I gave up my diet soda completely. I had cut it way back, but I completely gave it up. I haven't had one, and I should have put it in my calendar, but I didn't. It's been like, 6 weeks.
That's a big deal though.
It was a very big deal.
Good
so
job.
I was worried about my bone mass. I thought for sure that like all the stuff in there had leached my, calcium right out of my bones, and my bone mass would be terrible, but it's actually good. So I was very happy with that. And even happier for my mom, because at 71, her bone mass is solid. She doesn't have osteopenia or anything. She's 71. She's been keto for she stayed keto. So she went keto like 2 months after I did. But she stayed keto like this whole time. And she's for sure meat-based. Like it's meat and veg. It's not like, prepackaged keto or anything. She does a good job with it.
That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Ellie is saying with me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Ellie is saying, put it back up there. With me having lipedema, I have accepted my fat legs. We recently had Dr. Leslyn Keith on Linus Lifestyle, and she's an expert in lymphatics and lymphatic disorders like lipedema and lymphedema. And after the show, Ellie showed her legs, and she was like, I'm pretty sure, like she can't diagnose without being there in person, or whatever. But she was like, I have it, so. But at least, Ellie, knowledge is, knowing is half the battle. Do you remember that, Mike, from the 80s? No.
That's right.
Knowing is half the battle. Ellie's too young for that.
Well, and so, but did you get some good solutions for it? Is there a possibility that you can work on that? Is that dangerous? I'm not even sure. So the only thing I know about it is what I hear from Todd and Lindy on their show on Sundays. They talk about that a lot, and Michael. So, but anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They have both. I was just saying, I think they have both. I think they have lipedema and lymphedema, or some of them do. They're two different things, but the lipedema is like fat pockets that are, I don't know, you can almost feel grains inside of them, and they're painful, and you bruise easily. And when you lose weight, they don't go away. So a lot of times it is in the lower body. So like your upper body can be very thin, and then your lower body is disproportionately large because none of that comes off. We had another guest, I think the week before that, diagnosed with lipedema. And she was saying that, and just through experimentation, a lower fat, like not low fat, okay, I'm not saying low fat, but lower fat carnivore diet has helped. It's helped her get reduced. And when she eats too high of fat, she'll puff up. But if she keeps her fat more moderate, it helps her reduce the lipedema in her legs.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I think I've seen, you guys have interviewed her twice. I think I saw the first one. If it's who I'm thinking it is.
No, we've only interviewed her once. Ellie, refresh my memory on who I'm talking about, because Ellie knows who I'm talking about. I can't think of her name right now. Just once, and it was the week right before, it was like 3 weeks ago, right before Dr. Leslyn Keith was on. And it was cool because she talked about her as a patient, and then we had like the expert. It was really cool. So.
Well, that's what I love about the community, right? It's like everybody's N equals 1. Everybody's, trying the things. We all have Dr. Barry that we look up to, Dr. Chafee, which we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. And who's some of the others? Well, Dr. Boz was one of the early ones I followed. And so we get all these, good advice from actual doctors, and then you play around with it and see what works for you. And, again, blaming our friend Carrie for this Dr. Casey Means book that I read, which got me thinking, about, it doesn't have to be strict carnivore. It doesn't even have to be keto. I think Dr. Saladino is on to something. Now, of course, he's a younger man, certainly looks younger than he really is, but he's compared to me, he's a younger man, and he's in great shape and he burns lots of calories. And so that helps him with his, fruit intake, carb intake. But, when I think about my son, and I don't talk about my son much, but because he watches, sometimes he'll lurk, he might be watching right now. And, it kind of hurts me sometimes when people start making fun of vegans or attacking vegans. And I know that vegans attack carnivores in their chats and stuff. So I do get that, but my son is a vegan and he lifts weights and he is in great shape and he's doing very well with it. He's been on it for a long time. And so I don't like that. I mean, it's part of it's the tribe and I get that, but, I have a lot of respect for my son and he's on a diet that he likes. And even Dr. Barry has talked about, he's mentioned at times, he's like, our friends on the vegan side are approaching the same problem from a different direction, as far as getting rid of seed oils, getting rid of the processed food. And, that's 90% of the problem. And then after that, you settle into what really works for you. Now, carnivore works best for a lot of people because it's such an elimination diet. And so you have lots of different autoimmune stuff that clears up for people. Like I said, I've never had problems with plants, but then, when you're on plants your whole life, maybe they start showing up when you're 60, 70. So I don't know. There's that discussion too. But you hear where I'm coming from? I think that's Dr. Casey's book kind of opened my eyes to that a little bit more about a couple things that were bugging me.
So it makes me wonder a little bit. I'm going to push back just a little bit. I'm going to be carnivore. I'm not going to eat some plants. I have, first of all, let me just address what you said. So I have no problem with any diet that anyone chooses. Like that's great. If your son is vegan and he is doing fantastic and his health is good, great. What bothers me is when they try to take away everyone's meat and say that we're murderers and that kind of thing. But I try to stay out of it. We did have a funny episode of Blindness Lifestyle. It happened to be our 1-year anniversary show. I don't know if you saw it, Mike, but I mean, right away we had to, we were kind of joking about it because our channel is still very small since we just, transferred it over to its own channel. And it took my own Meat and Wellness channel. I'm getting close to 3,000 subscribers now, which is awesome. And I'm very excited about, but it took me until just a couple hundred subscribers ago to start getting the hate comments, the vegan hate comments, which I usually just try to respond to with something positive and move on with my day. But on Lioness Lifestyle channel, we got 2 hate comments within the first month of even being a channel. And it was pretty funny. And we had to highlight them on that episode and kind of respond to the hater comments that we got. But yeah, I stay off the vegan channels. I don't go over there. I'm fine with whatever dietary choice they make. And it's, so just, that's kind of how I feel about that. And I try not to make fun of them too much, but, to your other point, here's just an example for my mom. So she's 71. Actually, her birthday is in like a couple weeks. She'll be 72. She went keto and she's sending me her pictures of her food occasionally. Like I'll see pictures of her food. And the longer it went on, I was seeing more and more plants on her plate. So it's always meat and veg, but like the proportion of veg was like growing. And in my head, I'm like, ew, like who would do that on purpose?
Yeah, right.
But whatever. Sure. Like I didn't say anything to her because she didn't say anything to me about I'm having this symptom or that symptom, because that's who she comes to me. She doesn't watch all us YouTube people. She learned it from me in the first place. If she has a question or a symptom or anything, she comes to me. And so, but when we were at Hack Your Health in May, we were like headed toward a bathroom break and she just starts going, oh man, like my knuckles have like, they weren't hurting and now they're starting to hurt again. And I'm like, that's when I said something. I'm like, do you think it could be the plants on your plate? And then a nurse actually overheard our conversation, a very nice nurse who I didn't know, just like, the lectins and the oxalates. And then she starts saying all this stuff. And I was like, hey, way to back me up. And so my mom for sure, she still eats plants, but she backed up and she heard the proportion of her meat is a much larger portion. And lo and behold, her joints are feeling better.
That's
so
great.
To your point about, to your point, like she's older, right? So maybe all those years of eating the plants at this age, it's finally caught up to her. And as long as she keeps those down in her diet, she doesn't have arthritis. But as soon as she starts to up that plant content, it comes back with a vengeance.
Right. Well, and another argument against me eating plants or my banana or two a day when I do that, the argument against that is, I'm not metabolically healthy right now. Certainly not even as well as I was last year after 6 months carnivore. And it would probably do me better to, go back strict ketovore at least. And then, if I'm doing well on that, then maybe try adding in some of the fruit. So, I mean, that would be my own counter argument against my own adding some fruit sometimes.
Yeah. I just know for me personally, I've been carnivore since June of 2023. So a little over a year. And now there are some plants like a pickle. Sometimes I'll have some pickle chips, super rare. Yeah. Once every few months, if I'm at a restaurant and I have a burger patty, I'll have 3 or 4 pickle chips. The thought of doing that does not gross me out. Do I usually do it? No. If I make burger patties at home, only very rarely. Usually it's just the burger patties. But the thought of eating pickle chips doesn't gross me out. There are other plants that I used to eat, like broccoli. When I think about eating broccoli, it legit, I'm like, nope, I don't want it. And when I think about eating fruit, it seems like I haven't eaten it, but it seems in my brain like it would be so sickeningly sweet. And I don't think I would be getting any benefits from it. So I just have no desire. Now the pickle chips, like I said, occasionally I'll do that, or a couple slices of avocado, even more rare than the pickles. But those things, if I think about eating them, I don't get that feeling. But it's funny because there's a lot of plants that I used to eat that when I think about eating them, I'm like, no thanks. It's just not appealing.
So Shaunamara, Dr. Shaunamara, and he eats plants, but it's fermented.
My pickles are fermented, by the way. The pickle chips that I have in my fridge they're fermented.
So not pickled, but fermented.
They're fermented dill pickles.
So being an ENFP like I am, I just kind of went on a tear. I get interested in something and then I'll try to learn a bunch about it, and then I'll get bored with it and move on. And I did that with fermented foods for a while. I even bought some jars and and the little caps you put on top to keep the vegetables underwater so you don't get mold and all that stuff. So I learned a lot about it, and I still haven't done it, but I would like to ferment some of my own vegetables just for fun. I do like sauerkraut, things like that. But I know Ellie asked a question, and then Sharon was kind of telling her that I need to catch them up, I guess, on the banana and the poop.
So yeah, Ellie, if you rewind, he talked about his banana, he's ketovore, so he has mushrooms and onions with his meat, and then an occasional banana, and that's the fruit he's adding in currently. But yes, go back and check that out. And then Aid had a question I would like to put up here. Thank you, Aid. Aid just knows how to pitch them. Aid just pitches them right in there. I would love to talk about this, Aid. So Aid is asking, is there a specific diet which improves symptoms of ADHD and autism? And Aid, I am not a doctor or medical professional of any kind. I'm just a mom and a teacher. And I have worked with multiple students, probably over 100, diagnosed with ADHD. And in my whole career, never, ever did I think that diet would change anything. And I would even kind of secretly laugh if moms were like, don't eat that red dye. I would secretly laugh in my head. I'm like, yeah, that's not it. You got to discipline your kid. That's what I would say in my head to myself, before I had my own kids, right? So then I am blessed with 2 wonderful, wonderful children who both actually have ADHD. But lately there's been some focus on my channel about my younger son because, as I said, I started the Proper Human Diet actually in February of 2023 and then carnivore in June. And a lot of my time is spent just watching, especially all the wonderful doctors that you mentioned, Mike, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Berry, Dr. Hampton, sometimes Dr. Kiltz, and these doctors I've also then started watching Metabolic Mind channel, which is Dr. Brett Scher, I believe. And they have, and like other people that are on that channel, and learned about like Dr. Georgia Ede. I read her book. And Dr. Chris Palmer, Brain Energy, I read his book talking about book reading. I did some book reading too, Mike. You're not the only one with book learning around here. But what's funny is I didn't do the book learning before I changed my son's diet. I changed my son's diet based on the fact that my own mental health has improved so much. And I wouldn't have even been the person to tell you I had mental health issues. But after going carnivore, I was like, whoa, I have more energy. I feel more clear. My brain fog is gone. I used to have anxiety. That's gone. I can sit here and chat with Mike like old friends and not feel nervous. Chatting to all of YouTube and all of you watching right now, I'm not nervous. I'm just having a nice time. That would have set me right over. Like I would have run as far away from this type of situation as possible. So I got better. And I was hearing all these things about, mental health conditions, even as severe as like schizophrenia, being put into remission with a ketogenic diet. And so I thought, maybe this would help his ADHD, because we have thrown everything and the kitchen sink, not but the kitchen sink, everything and the kitchen sink we threw at this ADHD. If anyone is equipped to deal with ADHD, it's someone like a teacher, right? Because we have experience. We've been trained with strategies. We've been in a million meetings with parents. We work with these kids every single day. And I tried every strategy. I recruited every expert that you're supposed to recruit. I paid lots of money out of pocket for things like counselors and occupational therapists, as well as took advantage of every resource the school system had to offer, as well as tried implementing all the strategies here at home. And nothing, when I say it didn't work, I mean, it didn't work at all. Like not 0.5%, like nothing. Like he wanted no part of it. And I think those things can probably work for some kids, but not the kids that sort of tend toward that oppositional defiance. Like my son is going to be defiant if he thinks you're trying to get him to do something. He's not going to do it. And so he's very smart. So he knows that all these adults are trying to manipulate him, as I put that in air quotes, he's not going to do it. He's just not going to play, and he's going to fight you. And if you try to continue with it, he melts down. He loses his mind, fits, hitting, throwing stuff, crying, all of that on the floor, putting holes in stuff. Once he climbed out his bedroom window and ran out there like he was going to run away when he was real little. If you try to exit the situation just to defuse it, he'll follow you. One time I tried to leave and like drive away. He stood behind the car, so I couldn't drive away, so he could keep engaging with me. So he won't let it go. He wants to fight. Like when he gets into that stage, he wants to fight. He doesn't want to back down. So when I say his symptoms were quite severe, I say all of these things not to put him on the spot. And by the way, he is okay with it. I've gotten some comments like, are you sure your son? I'm like, he came on live with me. Like he wants to help people. He's fine with it. And so I just thought, what the heck? It's food, right? Like it's not, I know it's going to be actually way healthier in general for him, but maybe it would even help his ADHD. Right. And so, but now at the time we started this, it was February of this year. He was 15. He just turned 16. He's working on his driver's ed right now, you guys. Oh my gosh. Anyways. And so I asked him like, hey, you've watched me do this. What do you think? Would you like to try it for 30 days? And I was like, please, I waited to see what he would say because he has access to any food he wants. He can go to school and there's cafeteria is open for breakfast and lunch. And we all know how terrible that school cafeteria food is as far as, standard American diet. It's standard American diet central. It's all kind of processed, heavily processed everything. And that food is free twice a day. So he could just, even if even if I tried to make him do it, first, he wouldn't do it if I tried to make him, as I just said, but he could just go and get whatever food he wanted at any time. Right. So I had to have buy-in, and he agreed. And, with a little bit of negotiation back and forth, like he didn't want to give up his ice cream. I worked on getting him like a keto treat that he could do to start. And so we found these like keto cookies that I could make, and they have the the Equip Prime protein powder, which is beef isolate protein, you know,
Oh,
but
nice.
they have some keto chocolate chips in there, you know, and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what so that he wouldn't, you know, because he was used to having his ice cream after dinner, you know, each day or whatever. He didn't want it. He said, that's going to be hard to give up. And I'm like, okay, well, we can work with that. And then we started him on some, what I would consider substitution. And it turned out to be mostly carnivore food. So it was like chicken nuggets made with ground chicken and like some Parmesan cheese and some pork panko. And we started him on things like that. And within a week, I am not kidding you, this boy cleaned out his room without me telling him. And he was borderline hoarder. Like, his room was full to the brim with junk everywhere. And I stopped fighting that battle to clean his room when he was 8 or 9 years old. I'm like, I'm just not going to fight this battle. It's not worth it. Like, we're fighting so many battles already. I'm not going to pick this one. So his room just festered for all of those years. And then he just starts coming out of his room one day with trash bags. Like, what you doing? And he's like, I'm cleaning my room, like all nonchalant, like it was just a normal thing that he would just do. And, you know, I don't care about the clean room. I gave up on caring about the clean room. It's not about the clean room. It's about the fact that that room looked like a bomb went off, and he just got the gumption to get up, figure out how to organize it, do a complex task, like break it into chunks and like do it and organize everything. And then on subsequent days, he like completed that process. And he just sort of keeps it neat. It's not like totally neat. Like, I bet you it's getting a little messy now. Like, it's a little bit messy. I bet you within probably this weekend, if I had to bet, he'll be like, I'm going to straighten up my room, because he's done that a few times since then. And it's like, he could never do that before. When you ask him, he's just like, before it just felt like there was this big wall there that I just couldn't figure out how to tackle. So I would just watch YouTube. I just wouldn't tackle it. I would just ignore it. And he just started doing it like without me. And then there's been so many improvements since then, but that was within the first week. So yes, Aid, I would say that a proper human diet, keto, carnivore, I think ketosis and high fat is important, you know, for mental health. So I try to I add extra butter to his eggs. I make eggs with sausage for him every morning, and I keep all that sausage fat for when I cook up the sausage, and I add that in there too. And then he likes a good chuck roast. I'll make a chuck roast when it's left over. The first time it was left over, he's like, what's all that white stuff? And I'm like, that's the beef tallow. And what you're going to do is crack off a chunk of that, put it in your bowl. When you heat it up, you're going to, he's like, oh, so he eats all of that. So
carnivore candy.
Yeah, it's carnivore candy. That's it. Mm-hmm. So after 30 days, I asked him once, do you want to keep going? He said yes. And after that, I didn't ask him anymore. He just keeps going on his own, you know. And now when I say I'm making chuck roast, he cheers. And the substitution foods have almost all, like, he'll still have his little carnivore pizza pocket. That's fine. But it's mostly chuck roast, chicken thighs, picanha. That's the staple of it. And then eggs and sausage. And he usually eats twice a day. But on school days, he'll eat 3 times a day. Yep. He'll eat a small breakfast. I pack him a little sausage and cheese for lunch at school. Then he'll come home and have a little dinner. But like on the weekends, usually twice. Yeah. Such
a great story. Yeah. Dr. Shore, what was the name of that channel again? It's, because I was watching it. Metabolic Mind. I was watching it and I was putting it into people's chats. You know, you got to check this out, because I used to watch him when he was with the low-carb doctor or whatever it was called. And I guess he left that to do the Metabolic Mind thing now. So he's a cool guy. I did want to bring Ellie back up to date, because she kind of was asking for that. And so Ellie, what happened was I got discouraged because I wasn't losing weight. I couldn't afford ribeyes anymore. So I felt the wagon, went back to eating ice cream. I was still keeping my protein up though. I didn't go 100% back sad, but I was doing quite a bit of, you know, cheating and stuff. But then after gaining 20 pounds, I'm kind of back. I'm doing more Ketovore now. What I'll do pretty much every day, what I eat is I'll do some mushrooms and onions sauteed, and then I'll do about a half pound of pork sausage, a pound of hamburger. And I forgot to mention this too. I'll put a few slices of cheese in that. And about 3 farm fresh eggs, and I'll eat about half of that in late morning and half of that mid evening or evening. And that's basically what I eat. Now, some days, like today, I bought a bunch of bananas. So I'll have a banana at the end of each of those meals. And that's kind of what I am right now. So thanks for bearing with me on that, Christy.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. So there's a couple comments while I was talking that came in. So Bruce is here saying, good to see Mike back on alive. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Bruce, I don't know where Pixel is hiding out, but yeah, she doesn't like come hang out with me on my desk here on my live streams anymore.
What? Come on, Pixel.
I know. Mike's here. Where are you, Pixel?
Where are you, Pixel? Somewhere. Now, can she hear me on the speakers, or do you have these?
No, I have the earbuds in. It's only in my ears. She can't hear you.
We can't.
Yeah, thank you, Aid. No. Aid, I learned about this. I think Bart K talks about the pathological demand avoidance. He says that's what his diagnosis is. And I think so too. I'd never heard that till I heard Bart K say it. My son has not been diagnosed with that officially, either one of those, but I think he has it. I just didn't want to throw another diagnosis on him he already has the support at school with the ADHD diagnosis that he has, so, and then Nia's here. Hi, Nia. Nice to see you.
Nia.
And I'm just going through here. So,
since Nia's here, I did want to, so I like watching Nia when I can, and she's kind of a deep thinker, and she likes talking about some of this stuff. And she said, this was a couple months ago, Nia, so I don't even know if you remember it, but she was just talking about the loss. It's like having to deal with the loss is like, am I really such an addict or so broken that I can't enjoy these foods? And then just kind of mourning that, so you can get past that and get back to eating, what's really going to help you and feed your body. So I like Nia for that kind of content. She takes kind of I just like her deep thinking on some of the topics. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I like Nia's channel too. Nia texted me today and sent me a picture of this picanha. She says, guys, I finally found a picanha today. First time. I don't know how the girl can live in Texas and there's no picanha near her. I don't understand. But she found one today. And Nia, I hope you make a video about how you cook it, because I know it's going to be fantastic. But yeah, I want to see that.
So I've been doing carnivore off and on for years. So that's part of a problem, is the off and on part, I guess. But when I was doing carnivore and I lived in Lubbock, Texas, or even when I wasn't doing carnivore, there's a giant HEB in Lubbock, Texas on the south side of town. And when I lived in Odessa, they have an HEB, right? I love my HEB. I miss HEB. If there's anything I miss about Texas, it's HEB. It's such a great store. I used to get lamb there. And this was, this is a while ago, so maybe it's not this anymore, but I used to get lamb for $8 a pound. And I moved out here to Iowa and it's like 15 if I can find it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nia's saying, I am nervous to cook it. It was kind of expensive, but I threw it in the cart without a second thought. Nia, it's gone up $2 a pound. So when I first started, I noticed yours was from Walmart, even though you didn't say. I could tell by the package and the price of $9.74 a pound. It used to be $7.74 a pound. And then it went up to like 8 something. I don't remember. And now just very recently, like within the last month. So I think the picanha pride thing is catching on, because yeah, it's gone up in price. Yeah. I like that $7.74 a pound a lot better. But
yeah. Hello. So today at the store, this was great. I got, one of those 10-pound things of ground beef for $36. So I was like, I'll take that. That'll feed me for 10 days. Right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I just have to chop it up.
Rick is saying that I am the master of heart attack chicken. Yes, I am. I've made it a couple ways. I've made it deep fried. That took a lot of tallow though, so I don't do that anymore. I'll shallow fry it sometimes. Or if I get real lazy, sorry, Rick, I know this is not your method. If I get real lazy though, I'll get the bacon fat that I've saved, and I'll brush it like liberally all over the chicken, and I'll air fry it. Oh, that's good. And it's easy and like a little bit less messy. It's really good. I still consider that heart attack chicken, Rick. So sorry if it isn't, but it makes it really crispy though. It crisps up the skin like really good. So
if you're going to do chicken, that's the only way to do it, really.
It's it's delicious.
I'll bake leg quarters, probably just because I don't have tallow or that much bacon grease around. But I would like to try it the authentic heart attack chicken way one of these times.
I had to try it.
Does Rick do heart attack iguana? Do we know?
Rick, do you do? I think he does. But Rick, let us know if you do heart attack iguana.
Hey,
think. DC is here. Hey, DC.
Hey, DC. What's happening, brother?
Nice to see you in here. We do. We have left yesterday's live. Yesterday's panel is mostly all in the chat. Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice to see you guys all. So Booby Goats is saying my mom is an off and on carnivore. She feels so much better when she eats only meat. Right. So I don't know if you know about, there's a channel. She used to be called the Imperfect Carnivore in the UK, and she's changed her channel to the Healthy Carnivore in the UK because she's been on and off carnivore for 10 years. And that's kind of what her channel has been. This on again, off again, go fall into the carb ditch, get back on carnivore. Something happens, some stressful life event. You know, she's on carnivore 5 months, falls back in the carb ditch, right? And that's kind of what her channel has been. But she's awesome. Her name is Sarah, if I didn't say that already. And I'm going to be interviewing with her next month after she completes her 90 days. But she's at about a little over 60 days. And she's like bound and determined to really make it like stick. And so she's like vlogging every single day to help keep herself accountable. So you might want to point your mom in her direction. I really like her. She has a, kind of a good sense of humor that I enjoy. And she just kind of vlogs every day about carnivore stuff. She's doing this thing now where she gives like it's like a little food award. Oh my gosh. She had this butter. It wasn't even butter. It was like 55% butter. And then it had like some seed oil in there. Like, I forget which kind. And then it had like some weird milk, almond milk or something. I don't even remember. Oat milk. I think it was oat milk. And she's like, what even is this? And who is it supposed to appeal to?
What?
It doesn't appeal to vegans because it has butter in it, right? And then the people that eat butter, the people that eat real butter usually don't want to eat that other stuff. Who is this product even for? It was kind of funny. It was a funny product. Like, what is this? So anyway, but yeah, she's a really good person to watch for inspiration if you tend to fall off, and then trying to get back on, because that's been her journey. And she's talking about now she's got to repair her metabolism, and it's not even about weight loss. She's put her scale away. She doesn't care because she wants to heal her body, and hopefully someday the weight loss will come. But if it never does, oh well.
Yep.
And so yeah,
that's the lesson I learned. That's the lesson I learned, because I got so discouraged without the weight loss. And that's what I was really looking forward to. I did one meal. I did one steak a day back in 2019 when I was living in Phoenix. And I had a pretty active job. I was, I'm just going to say it. It's a political thing, so don't get offended. I was the political director for the Republican Party for the state of Arizona. And so it was up early, in the office all day, or having meetings all day, or traveling around the state, doing trainings, meeting with groups, speaking, which was my favorite, blah, blah, blah. So it was a lot of activity. And I lost easy 40 pounds. I really don't know, 40 or 50 pounds in about 3 months doing one ribeye a day. That's what I did. And so this time around last year, when I did 6 months, and there was some one meal a days mixed in there, but it was strict carnivore, no cheating. Like I said, maybe 2 meals in that whole 6 months. I think Thanksgiving I ate what I wanted, and maybe Christmas somewhere, I don't know, something like that. But anyway, and just to not lose weight was just not my expectation. And that's part of why I got discouraged. So that's part of that, lesson is you've got to have a stronger why than, I just want to look 25 again, which is it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just 100%. Not. Right.
Mike, have you noticed these price hikes? So Karen is saying our eggs in Arkansas jumped $2 for 18 count of eggs, and now it's $6.49. In California too, but like I do splurge on the good eggs. So my eggs are about that for a dozen, but they're like the organic pasture raised ones. Like I splurge for the good ones.
So, I have not noticed, and this is amazing. And if you can do this. So there's a family at church I'm good friends with, and they have chickens, and they sell a dozen eggs from their farm fresh eggs, a dozen eggs for $3. They'll deliver for $3.50. So it's awesome.
Yeah. That's a great deal. Now that my husband is pretty much eating this way too. Oh my gosh, so many eggs, because I eat them, my son eats them, he eats them. We probably go through at least a dozen a day between the three of us easily. So
I'll do 3 a day. So a dozen every 4 days. So I try to get 2 dozen. They'll bring them to church, and I'll hand them $6, and I'm good for a week.
What really saved me money is when I got that half cow. Like my brother plowed through his is gone. I'm like, dang, how did you beat me? I'm the carnivore. But it's because I'm still throwing in the picanhas. Like I'm not only eating that, I think that's why. Right. But we're definitely going to do it again. We're going to get a whole cow next time, because my mom got a ginormous freezer. But yeah, that meat was like, I forget the exact price, but it was definitely under $6 a pound. And even ground beef cost about that out here. So it's like, I mean, I basically, for the price of ground beef, I got all the cuts for that price.
That's great. Now I remember when you first got it, you said the grass-fed, grass-finished had a different taste. Are you used to that?
I didn't. So what I did was so we had ordered a grass-fed, grass-finished half beef, because my brother, it was going to take 2 months longer to get the grass finished, because I guess they're more in demand, or they have less of them, or I don't know, but it was going to be 2 months longer to wait. And it was already a pretty long wait. But my brother was like, I really want grass finished. He was like adamant. And we got the half cow and we split it just because of freezer space at the time. My mom didn't have the big freezer. So because of freezer space, we got a half cow and we were splitting it 3 ways. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like the grass finished is better for you. It's cool. We'll do that. And my mom didn't care. So, but then I got to thinking, I think I heard somebody say, like, I don't like grass finished. And then I heard some more people say, I don't like grass finished. Like, I don't like the way it tastes. And I thought, like we're going to be putting in quite a bit of, I mean, it's cheap per pound, but like you're buying a half cow. So that's a lot of pounds, right? So you're putting in quite a, several $100s. And so I was like, okay, let me go to this. I went out to the ranch. They have, I think 2 days a month where you can go, and it's not really, they don't call it a storefront, but they have like a outbuilding with like some freezers in it. And they set up a makeshift cash register. It doesn't look pretty, but they're just selling
iPhone with a square on it.
Yeah, seriously. Yep. So they just sell you can go get meat, like, and you can pre-order it, or you could just go pick up whatever they have, you can just go buy. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go and do that. And so I bought a grass-fed, what they were calling a grass-fed, grass-finished, like beef lovers box or something. Mm-hmm. And so I got that, and I got it home. And actually the first thing I made out of there was some kind of roast. And it was like, I was like, oh, this is so good. But then I got to some other, like the steaks, like it was like I don't know if it was a sirloin. I don't know what it was, but some kind of steak. And it tasted like wet grass smells, like strong. And I was like, oh, no. Yep, if our half cow ends up tasting like this, like I couldn't even stomach it.
Yeah.
And so I've gradually, now the other day I had a piece of flank steak. It was about a half a pound of flank steak from that meat. And it was good. Like I cut it into chunks. I just fried it up. And then I actually took it to work and ate it cold. Because I have discovered I do like, as Aid apparently likes, cold lamb chops with Olsen sea salt. When I'm working, I will either take cold picanha, or in this case, cold flank steak, and just put my Redmond real salt on it. And it was actually, it didn't taste grassy. So I'm like, I think the meat in this box, I don't think it all came from the same cow, maybe, because it was just a random box, right?
Oh yeah.
So, anyway, I didn't want to take the chance. So we switched our order to grass-fed, grain finished.
Yep.
Because I didn't want to take the chance, because I'm like, I'm not going to pay all this money. I told my brother, I'm like, I had I ate 2 different pieces of that grass finished meat. And I was like, nope, it was literally, I didn't eat it all. Like, and I was still hungry, but it was that disgusting to me. And so we switched our order. It took that's why it took till June to get it. Oh my gosh, we were waiting forever, because it took longer now because we changed our order. So yeah, so it's the cow I have was grass-fed, grain finished. Nice. But on a regenerative, like small farm, like they're treating the animals well. When you go there, it's like, it's beautiful. The cows are eating the grass, like living their best life. So I don't know like where they probably grain finish them right there. I would think. I don't think they transport them. Maybe they do. I'd have to ask. But anyways, the meat is very good. Like I said, my brother already finished all of his 200 pounds gone. So, no, I think we've eaten about half of ours. Oh, we had a power outage scare. That was scary. Hey, I need to know all
that
of
would
you.
Be scary.
Yeah, 24 of you that are watching, our power went out, and usually it's back on in 10 or 15 minutes, but we had a big thunderstorm with a lot of wind, and the power went out. Oh, there was hail and everything. And the power went out, and it didn't come back on for like 9 or 10 hours.
Whoa.
And I was losing my mind, because I was like, my cow, my half cow. What I need is a recommendation on like a solar generator. Like, what's a good one? Because I want one so that when that happens again, I can just like, it'll be charged up and I can plug in my freezer to that, so I don't lose my half cow.
Well, you could probably
half cow next time, but I don't want to lose my meat.
No, you could probably get a lot of tax breaks on something like that. Yeah, you know, like this may be overboard, but like the Tesla roof, but they have Tesla does solar panels with the battery capacity too that hangs on the wall in the garage. That might be a good solution. But
we have solar panels. We're just still attached to the grid. So when the power goes out, we don't have the battery backup. I asked my husband, he's like dead set against, I want to do the battery backup. He doesn't. So I'm thinking of more like a portable type generator that we can just, I would love the battery backup, because we could have I didn't work the next day because it didn't come back on until 2 or 3 in the morning. And I had to make a decision. I'm like, I don't know if it went out at like 4 p.m. and it didn't come back on until 2 or 3, I don't know, in the morning the next day.
Take out a substation or something? That's crazy.
I don't know. So I was like, I had to make a decision. So I called the sub, because I was like, if the power doesn't come back on, I'm not going to work. It did come back on. I didn't sleep well, because I like the white noise when I sleep. So I have a fan when I sleep. Well, there's no fan. So I wasn't sleeping. I was stressed out because there's no power, wondering if it was going to come back on, It
was still kind of hot, probably.
It was hot. It was it was over 100 degrees here. So the house was like 85 degrees. It was roastingly hot. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't sleep. So it was good that I called out sick, but I want something, I guess, since my husband doesn't want to spend all that money on the battery backup, something that I can.
Does it have to be solar? Can't you just get like a Honda generator and have it running outside the garage?
I mean, yes, but I would also like to keep my inside fridge going in my house.
Well, long enough extension cord, and a good enough generator. I don't know how much they cost though, but.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, Nia, here's what Nia is saying. I have a Bluetooth AC 200p. It's solar, and you can charge it with regular electricity. Yeah, that's what I found. The solar ones you can plug in and charge, but like if your power is out, you can put them in the sun and charge them, even with no power. Depends on how many watts the freezer is, but they make some heavy duty ones. We ran the off the grid bus off of this one. Okay, Nia, thank you.
Oh.
That's good to know. I always forget, like you talk about this, and every time you talk about it, and then I promptly forget that you did off the grid living for a little bit.
Off the grid bus.
I know she did do that. So yeah, I'm going to have to look into that. I don't think I need to survive. Well, hopefully, forever, but yeah, that was long enough. I was like worried. My husband went and bought a bunch of ice, and we put it in our indoor refrigerator so that we wouldn't lose like the milk and that kind of stuff. And it was short enough time that did work, but anyway, yeah, it was nerve-wracking. I was not excited, not happy.
No kidding. What kind of a storm is that?
So and it wasn't the whole city. It was like a little small pocket of people, like right around me.
Yeah, it must have been a substation or something, you know, but I can't imagine it was something as simple as a transformer. I would think that they would fix it faster than that. Yeah. So there was one thing I wanted to talk about too, because you talked about Callie and Casey Means being on Tucker, and you really do need to watch that interview if you haven't seen it. And fabulous. RFK Jr. also had an episode with Tucker and spent a fair amount of time talking about the Make America Health Again. And I just think it's an exciting time. You know, a lot of people in this space have been here for years and, you know, been talking about the lies from the government, you know, going all the way back to before food pyramid days, and the way that they've made up data, skewed data, you know, and just, you know, basically told people how to eat the opposite of what is true. Was that you, Christy? Or I saw a post of, was it Pixel who was upside down, how to read the food pyramid?
It wasn't Pixel. I wish it was Pixel. I don't have a picture of her upside down. That was me. I found this cat that was like this, and I put it next to the. I was like, "How to read the food pyramid? Just look at it like this."
Right, and so you know, this is what Casey Means is talking about. This is what Callie Means is talking about. This is what RFK Jr. is talking about, and Callie Mean, who co-wrote the book with his sister, Dr. Casey Means, Good Energy. Callie's the advisor to RFK Jr. on all of this nutrition stuff. And so, you know, here is, you know, depending on, you know, it doesn't necessarily depend on who gets elected on, I think ultimately it does. But right now there is a lot of awareness happening that wouldn't be happening because RFK Jr. is in the race, and, you know, he's reaching a wider audience and is helping reach a wider audience with, you know, how bad seed oils are, how bad processed foods are, you know, how we've been lied to, and other things too. But I don't want to get your, I don't want to get our live shot taken down or whatever. But I mean, you know, there's other things to talk about too. Yeah, let's not. It wouldn't happen, but I'm trying to be nice.
So, there we go. So Sharon is saying, I've watched all the Means interviews lately, mostly made me cry with hopefulness. Yes, I'm not like sitting here wanting to be political at all, but like just the fact that this message is getting, I know Mike is, that's fine, Mike. It's fine. I'm not. But just the fact that message is getting out there, and it's like people are saying it that haven't said it before, like people that maybe have the opportunity to do something. It is hopeful. It does feel hopeful. I agree.
It really is. And I think people that are hearing this for the first time, or, you know, this might be well, I watched Lily Kane video, I think today.
Me too.
And she had that. So you saw what she put, you know, it's like her family who's been watching her do, you know, keto, sometimes carnivore, sometimes with fruit, you know, all this stuff, but, you know, eating a lot healthier than the standard American diet. And then finally, and now her family has seen this from a different source. And a lot of times your family won't listen to you, but they'll listen to someone else.
Yeah, that's so true. You know,
so
true.
So
yes. And she was talking about how her family like threw away the seed oils and the processed food. And she was like, hallelujah, because you know, like they didn't listen to her all these years, you know, they've watched her. They were just like, whatever. And they just kept eating all that stuff. And it's just, they heard that and went, you know what, this is bad for us, and got rid of that. I'm not saying they went carnivore or even keto, but hey, that is awesome. Just to get rid of the seed oils and processed food. That is a huge step in the right direction. Yes. Ellie says she needs to see that video. I don't watch a lot of Lily Kane, but when she talks about this kind of stuff, like she was talking about, what was it called? Something where it's like Halloween, and it was Ogtober. August has been dubbed Ogtober. It was back in August. Yeah, apparently. And there's like all of these like things about it where they sell candy like it's Halloween, but they're calling it Ogtober so they could sell more candy and like extend the season. And so she did a video about that, which I did like a lot. And then this one today, Ellie, I think it came out today or yesterday. It's very recent. talking about, I forget the title, sorry, but it's recent, so you should be able to find it. It was
Yep.
really,
Just go to her
good.
channel. It'll be probably the latest video she's put out. But it was really good, but it just kind of underscored what I've been feeling since I read, Dr. Casey's book, and then, saw the interview with Tucker, and then saw RFK Jr.'s interview with Tucker, talking about what we've been talking about for years. They're not talking about strictly carnivore, but they're talking about, responsibly taking care of the environment so that we can have well-sourced food, whether that's vegetables or animals, things that are so really important to all of us. So it's kind of cool that,
I mean, think of what a difference it would make if the school food that they fed the kids was not processed.
Right.
Like if it was just whole food.
Right.
I would be like, that would be great. I'm not saying they got to feed those kids carnivore or, but just if it was just a whole food thing and not a bunch of, it's literally everything on that plate for breakfast and lunch is processed, every single thing, even the fruit, like it's like strawberry fruit with like sugar in it. That's like frozen. That counts as fruit, or like cran raisins that are like covered in sugar. And that counts as fruit. And I'm like, can you just give them some fruit?
And then the fruit juice, which doesn't have the benefit of the fiber to blunt the fructose invasion in your body, is counted as fruit. And these are the kinds of things they're talking about. It's like, we gotta, because, the FDA and others, they have all these deals with big food. And so their incentive is to push the crap. And, that's part of the policy proposal, is to de-incentivize that stuff and get big food out of the FDA so that they can be independent and do actual science-based, make science-based decisions so we can have good outcomes, not just for us carnivore freaks, but, for regular folks too, so that they'll know what to eat and why, because they're killing all of us slowly. We know that. We've been talking about that for years. And now they're bringing it to a bigger audience, and I just love it.
Yeah, it's very hopeful.
Also, Nia, put up your tree. It's fine.
Nia says, yes, there is hope. People just need to hear it over and over until it sinks in as truth. Yes. To undo, we got to undo all the programming that's been done and then do reprogramming. Yes.
Right.
And then this is what Mike is talking about. The Christmas trees are up at Walmart on trend. I try not to go in there. I do shop. I get my picanha and stuff at Walmart. And then, because that's the only place that has it. And it doesn't have any other ingredients. I stopped buying my ground beef there, you guys, because in Walmart's ground beef is beef and natural flavors. What? No, thank you. No. So the only meat I buy there is picanha, because it's just Angus picanha, nothing else, no other ingredients. But anyways, when I order anything from Walmart, I have it delivered to my porch because I don't want to go in there.
Oh, that's cool.
It's great. Yeah, it's like the best thing.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
You pay.
I wonder if I could get that service.
You can pay for each delivery individually, but I just pay for the year, kind of like Amazon, and then you can do as many deliveries as you want. I love it.
That's cool.
Very,
my nearest Walmart's 35 miles. You think they'll do it?
I don't know. You just go on their app or whatever and just find out. I have like 3 of them that would, but there's the one that has the picanha. That's the one
that would be wild. I didn't even think about that. What if they did deliver 35 miles out?
That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy.
I think they use DoorDash. I don't think they have their own. So if DoorDash will deliver it to you, then they probably would do it.
So there was so I actually applied for this app and qualified for it, and they drove for Walmart and others. I don't think I ever drove for Walmart. Maybe one trip. I think maybe I did one trip, and it's called Spark. Was the name of the app that the drivers use. So they sign up for Spark, and it was Walmart only at the beginning, but they've expanded to other stores like Lowe's and other things. So I drove for Uber for a few months back in Tucson. Got some pretty fun stories from that. And so this was something else I was thinking of doing on the side just for some extra income. Ended up not doing it, but that was in Lubbock, Texas. And so, yeah, it was called Spark. So I don't know if they're all using that, but that's probably it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, hold on, I lost it. The chat is going. I like looked down and lost it. Well, anyway, somebody was talking about that when you have that Walmart membership, you also get free shipping. Like if you order from walmart.com, you get free shipping, which is kind of a cool perk too.
I remember when they first started this and they were talking about competing with Amazon. That's really what they wanted to do, was compete with Amazon. And you know what competition does? It makes it better for all of us. Yes.
So actually Walmart has a cheaper price on Pixel's food than Amazon does now. So yeah, I'll usually do that for her because I've upped the game on her food and it's expensive. But I can't feed her the really super processed stuff with a million ingredients and weird chemicals anymore. I just feel too guilty.
Yeah, right. So what do you feed her now? Is it sardines?
So she doesn't. I tried feeding her some more sardines. She ate the part of that one sardine from the sardines when I tried them, and I was like, nope. And I gave them to her. She ate, but now she's a cat. She's finicky. So I found it's like a cat food, but it's just tuna. So it's like tuna and fish broth are the only two ingredients in there.
Okay.
And I was giving her that, but then she likes it, but it's really expensive. So I did find a dry cat food. It's actually the same brand, but it's super limited ingredients. So it doesn't have a bunch of grain or vegetables or chemicals in there. I forget what all the ingredients are, but it's very limited, and that's a little bit more affordable. So I feel like I'm kind of walking that line between, on a teacher salary, what I can afford versus it's maybe not optimal, but it's definitely better than that. Ingredient list was like this long on the old one, covered like half the bag. I don't even know what that stuff was. And it was grains and all this kind of stuff,
Well, you think, what do cats eat in the wild? And it's birds and mice, right?
Yeah.
So what you need, you need a cat food that's basically birds and mice.
She does. Yeah, it's true.
She
doesn't like chicken. She doesn't like chicken. She does not like chicken. She loves seafood. I'm like, yeah, like you would eat that in the wild, Pixel. That's what I tell her. That is not your natural prey. You're not going to go hunt a tuna, but she loves it. So that's what she gets. Tuna and salmon.
I've always wondered why cats like fish so much. It's like, you guys don't even like water. How are you catching fish?
Yeah, I know.
Unless they have a partnership with an otter or something, you go get the fish, I'll get you a bird. I'll meet back here in 20 minutes. Right. I don't know how that would work.
That would be awesome. That's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay. Well, we've been here for an hour and 20 minutes. So before we wrap up, though, I want to hear, Mike, what are you looking at for the future? It feels like this is kind of new for you, getting on this keto, back on the wagon and kind of getting your feet back under you. What do you see in the next, I know you're going to have probably some blood work, but what do you see in the next 2-3 months here?
Yeah, I think, since I've gotten back on mostly Ketovore, especially for the last 2 weeks, I didn't even do fruit. I just did Ketovore, which was the mushroom, onions, ground beef thing. And, feeling better, losing a little weight, not from the scale, but I can just tell. But it's not even about that. I'm feeling better. I like the fruit in there because like I said, it helps with my sleep, a couple other benefits that I like. So I don't know. For sure I'm going to stick with mostly meat, probably not very many vegetables, although I do like broccoli sometimes. I don't know if I'll do that or not. And probably some fruit now and then, or more often than now and then. And then that's probably what my future looks like. And then, maybe I will get on that for a while, be more consistent. I've been real consistent for the last 2-3 weeks. Stay consistent for a couple, 3 more months and get some blood work done and see how I'm doing, I think is a good idea. So that's probably it. And then the other part was, apologizing again to everybody for disappearing, and one reason why I did that is because we really do influence each other. And I was just afraid. I was afraid for a couple things. I was afraid that I kind of messed up and I wasn't really part of the group anymore. That's part of it. But the other part, I was just afraid. It's like, well, what if I cause someone else to try fruit and it messes them up or something? And so, that was the other reason why I kind of stayed away. But, we're all friends, and that's why I was apologizing at the very beginning. I shouldn't have ghosted my friends. So you'll see me around. I may not have time to be in all of the chats all of the time, but I'll be around for sure.
Well, we love when you're in the chats, and we love you. And yes, we are friends. So you need to just stay with us. Don't ghost us again. I should have messaged you on Instagram. I didn't. So I was a bad friend too. So I apologize.
Well, it's like Mike's eating fruit now. So
yeah.
Good luck.
I wonder where you went. I was like, where'd he go? He just disappeared.
Yeah. Well, I had Matthew reached out to Bold Carnivore.
Oh, so yeah.
I think he might want to do a live coming up. I don't know, but you and I, we used to do lives fairly often, and then usually I'd be on with you, and then I'd get a message or two from other people. Hey, come on my show. And so then I would do that. And so then my channel kind of turned into a carnivore channel. And one reason why was because, Carrie Mann especially was like, if you're carnivore, start a channel. We want to get the word out. And I've had YouTube channels off and on since 2009. I like to talk. And this channel in particular was, I used to review phones, Google Fi stuff. And so I switched to carnivore content, and now I just haven't really done anything for the last 8 months, except for one video.
Get back to it, because I have fun YouTubing with you, and I like watching your stuff. And Susan says, you've got a great plan, Mike. We're here for you and each other. So I think that is a great note to end this live stream on. With that, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you around the YouTubes. Hey, come watch Lioness Lifestyle Live this Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's not on my channel anymore. We have a separate channel, Lioness Lifestyle, but Dr. Chafee will be there. So we would love to have you there.
You guys.
Yes, bring your questions.
So it's at Lioness Lifestyle, all one word, right?
At Lioness Lifestyle.
At Lioness Lifestyle. If you're not subbed to it, do that now and turn on the notifications, all the YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a link in here.
Is your other guest we talked about before the show, is that confirmed?
Yes. And the week after Dr. Chafee, we will have Dr. Boz on the show. And then the week after that, we will have Dr. Kiltz.
Oh, wow.
So it's a triple threat, triple doctors.
Some heavy. Yes. Those are some good gets, as we used to say in the biz. Now, I don't want to alarm you.
That's a result of Hack Your Health. Hack Your Health. I met them and talked to them in real life.
That's great. So I don't want to alarm you. It could be maybe a bad mushroom got in with my mushrooms. I just saw the wall behind you move. I know. Be careful. If you get a phone call from inside the house, that's not good.
That's not good. It's not a wall, it's a door. See?
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
That's an old joke. You have to be one of the original Mike and Christy fans to appreciate that one. All right, everybody. We will see you later. Good night.
Good night.